I'm bereaved.
Oh, whom have you lost?
My mother.
Oh, condolences to you. Oh, so she's the one on your
Yes.
DP. Oh, Charlie, condolences. We'll be there to represent life on the day of the funeral. But thanks again for making time to be with us this morning. Let me start off this conversation with you, Nunu. I mean, Nunu, you yourself, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You have employed people.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you keep employing people.
Sure.
Can you relate to the sound we shared with you a while ago? What the man was saying?
Very much. I'm sure every employer in Ghana has experienced it before. If you have not, then you are one in a million. You know, so it's something that is common.
Why is a Ghanaian worker like that?
I think that overambition, economic situation, unfair treatment from employers, peer pressure, everything. Because some people enter there with the hope of setting up their own businesses in a year or two, and so whatever they do to get money, they don't really care. Or it's all about harnessing resources to start their own business.
So what's your own personal experience? Share your own personal experience with us.
Well, my own personal experience, I think the first time when I started off, someone recommended a young lady to me to employ, so I employed her as a manageress. And finally, when we set up the office, I put air conditioning there. I realized that for about a week she was not turning it on. So I asked her, and she said she was an asthmatic patient. Later, I realized that I had lost. After about 8 months, I did auditing, and I realized that I had lost huge sums. So,
when you say huge sums, be specific for me. How much did you lose within that stipulated time?
It was around 40,000.
40,000?
Yes, 40,000 Ghana cedis. So she had a brother.
No, hold on. So is that to suggest that she stole the 40,000 or what?
No, when I asked her, she told me that she doesn't know how the money was missing. That she puts it in the safe.
She puts the money in the safe?
In the safe. So she admitted that yes, the money has, because I don't joke with bookkeeping. So it was obvious she took the money and recorded, signed against it, but she couldn't find it.
But you know, somebody could beat you like this to this.
In fact,
I know you're an economist. I know how sharp you are and all that. And somebody could work for you for 8 months and do away with 80,000 or 8,000.
Because
did you say 40,000? Yeah.
No, 40,000.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it is because she never denied taking the money, and it was obvious because the checks and balances were in place, so it was obvious that the money was with her. And so she never denied it, and she didn't behave like she didn't try to challenge. The only thing was that, according to her, she kept it in the safe and she couldn't find it. So I invited the family, and they told me that in fact at the time, even if I gave them 2 years, they were not going to pay. They wouldn't be able to pay. So I just fired her.
Is that the only experience you have?
No. So I think there was one young guy also working under her, and someone gave me a tip off that the guy has bought 2 taxis, but from
the guy has bought 2 taxis.
2 taxis, but from the salary of the guy, they don't think that he should be able to buy 2.
But isn't it possible that the guy owned those taxis before he began working for you?
No, you see, at the time I was supplying Chinese people, and they used to call him Alibaba. And I tell you, when a Chinaman calls you Alibaba, it means that you were a thief. So
if a Chinaman calls you Alibaba, it means you're a thief.
It means you're a thief.
Okay.
So they were calling him Alibaba. So that was when I realized that the guy was a thief.
Listen, are you an Alibaba in your establishment? Are you an Alibaba at your workplace? They say if a Chinese calls somebody Alibaba, it means you're a thief.
Yes.
And we're having this conversation because, listen, we're encouraging many people to have control of their finances, to have the right investments done. And many are saying that they are not interested in establishing businesses simply because of the fact that the Ghanaian worker is an Alibaba, a thief, and is unfriendly. I mean, we shared the sound with you a while ago. Do you agree that the Ghanaian worker is unfriendly? Do you agree that the Ghanaian worker, is a thief? Is a thief? Let's hear from you. Our WhatsApp number is 055-11-11995. Send us your messages, your thoughts on the matter. Share your experiences with us as well. Mr. Ninkra, like I said, is the CEO of the McKeown Group of Businesses, And he himself, is a certified tourism and hospitality trainer. He's a certified entrepreneurship trainer. He's a SEMBA Africa Business Excellence Award winner for 2022, an Outstanding Industry Leadership Award winner as well. Mr. Nikra, can you relate to what the sound we heard and what our economist and entrepreneur friend is saying? Nunu saying?
I share to some extent. It looks like it has been generalized.
Okay.
But basically, like we say in our traditional language, if you be a men's home. So I wouldn't want to generalize it, but it is there.
When you say generalize, you don't want to say every Ghanaian is like that. Okay, so let's do this. Strike a percentage of a sort for me. If you look at the general Ghanaian, the workers we have, and the ones that are in such behavior, what percentage would you give?
Well, there isn't research to give us the figures.
But based on your experience?
Based on experience, I would like to say maybe 55-45. 55 for the bad nuts, 45 for the good ones. Yeah.
So I would like to hear from you your own personal experiences that you can share. What is their attitude like? I mean, from the gentleman, they frown a lot. They are unfriendly. They would even backbite you, destroy you to other people, and stuff like that. They steal from you and all that. What's your own personal experience like?
Well, I've experienced few because of the number of businesses we have, but for me, if I take the total number of staff that I have, the bad nuts are not that many.
Oh, okay. They're good for you, huh?
And it stems from the kind of relationship we have with them. It's not more about their salary, but it's more about the motivation that they have.
Motivation in terms of what?
Anything. In terms of, at least the kind of language you speak to them, the relationship that you have with the worker, to the extent that he feels like he's part of the business. I think the other time I said here, or that was on phone, that when we started the restaurant, let me use the restaurant specifically, some of the workers that we started with are still with us. 27 years down the lane, we have about 7 of them still with us.
Wow.
And that is a plus for us. And it's not because we paid them huge sums. It's because that we have made them to understand that they are part of the family. And that anything that affects them affects us. And so they share. And when business goes down, they have a sympathy for that situation, and they share. So it boils down to, in fact, it's so many things put together. And this thing started not recently, only that it's been escalated because of social media and other things. It started long ago. And I believe that families have a role to play. Parents.
In correcting, we'll talk about that. But again, Nunu, when he was making his contribution, made mention of the fact that unfair treatment from employers. So let me put a question from what he said, because I actually know why it is so. He gives some reasons as to why it is so. Would you also say that unfair treatment, from employers is contributing to this behavior of the Ghanaian worker?
To some extent, yes.
Is it also possible, like you were saying, that make the person feel a part of the business, like you're a family? You think that when you treat the person that way, he or she will be friendlier to customers, he or she will not steal from you?
Not absolute. Some people, like I heard him say that, they have a perception. Once you employ them or they're looking for employment, they have at the back of their mind what they want to be in the next 2 years.
Is that wrong?
It's not wrong, but it must be done right.
Okay.
It must be done right.
What do you mean by it must be done right?
Let me give you an example of myself.
Okay.
I used to work. I was a worker myself. And I had this in mind that, okay, when I came for interview, we discussed my salary. And I agreed with you. And I said I would work. So for me, I'm working for that salary. At the end of the month, I expect that you pay me that money. Even though I was a worker, I still had that intuition that I'll have to set up my own business. Not from your side, but to make sure that where there are gaps, I fill that gaps. I used to work in a hotel in those days. Ghanaian dishes were not on service in the hotels in those days. And so when people come in, they are looking for local dish, then we struggle. You need to go and buy from, excuse my language, the Achumnums and the Asaf Market area. The health things were not right. So I said, okay, let us set up something so that people can come in. At that time, my wife had a supermarket. So we set up Makion restaurant, and I brought her in. So if you are looking for local dish, then we direct you to that place, and then people go and they felt, oh, this is neat, this is decent. When I was setting up my restaurant, I told my boss that this is what I'm doing, and it's different from what we are doing here. I'm not going to be in competition with you, but at least it's a compliment.
It's also a conflict of interest.
No, no conflict of interest. My director himself, for the first day, was there for the opening to see how things are. And I had just worked with him for like 3 months, so I couldn't have stolen from him. But my story is different.
I wonder how they're able to steal the money, and it takes a long time before it's seen. We have another businessman on the phone lines right now. His name is Mr. Francis Owusu-Afriyie. Now, when I knew Mr. Francis Owusu-Afriyie, he had a school, and he has other businesses as well. Now, the school's name at the time was Great Brains International. He has closed up the school, and he joins us on the phone lines right now. Mr. Owusu-Afriyie, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
All right, so we're having this conversation where we are taking a look at the attitude of the Ghanaian worker towards his employer. And there's a voice that we played a while ago, and in that voice, you could hear the frustrations of a businessman who says, the Ghanaian worker, is a thief. The Ghanaian worker will backbite you and pull you down. The Ghanaian worker, when he's even working for you, is unfriendly towards your customers, and the Ghanaian worker is going to bring down your business. So, Mr. Owusu-Afriyie, what is your own story when it comes to working with Ghanaians?
Hello?
Mr. Owusu-Afriyie, did you hear my question?
What you are saying is excellent. In fact, we, the business community, we are facing a lot of challenges as far as tax is concerned. When you employ somebody in your business, the person thinks that you didn't even suffer to open that business. You just come in and you just come and steal from the company. As they come, they don't want the company to grow. They come and they just be stealing your money. In fact, whatever that you do to that person, he will not appreciate it. You just steal the money and corrupt the business.
When you say they steal your money, Mr. Owusu-Afriyie, how do they come by this money? How is the money available for them to steal?
But the problem is that some of them, some of the businesses like buying and selling. In my business for poultry industry, we do sell the poultry inputs and eggs. And also I am into poultry farming. Normally what they do is that if you are not there, some may even collect the money and keep it and pay to their own account.
So I guess you have not put the right systems in place.
In my business, it was under 26 January, 26th of this month. Last month, sorry. I was around 4:30. I was there, and the police team called me that they have arrested some thieves in my company, and I didn't understand why they've arrested them nights like that. And when I got there, in fact, it was my stock manager and my security who has condoned together to be doing stealing. So you work and do everything, and we saw that they have taken away more than 1.5, more than 150,000 stocks worth of money from the store. So they were sent to police. And
Mr. Francis Owusu-Afriyie, if you can hear me, and I hope you can, because we're using the television side of the studio, so I don't have my headset on. I just want to ask you this question. Have you put in the right systems in place, Mr. Osofie, such that this will not happen?
You know, in Ghana, what system can you put in place that they won't steal you? Any system, even in the, you know, when you are operating with a computer, that is even serious. They just collect it and they will be doing patterns. Even the collect it and they will be stealing. It's a teamwork. They all team up. All the workers, when you take them, I was having my basic school, I've just closed it. They were stealing me too much. So I've just closed it this year. And because we were having about 34 teachers and non-teaching staff, and they all team up stealing me.
So when you realize that they are stealing from you, what do you do, Mr. Osofie? What do you do to them?
So this program, you know, some of them, when you send them to you, I've arrested many of them in my businesses, and when you send them to police and this thing, they have their way out. And because of that, people don't fear. And for me now, if I get you, I don't think of my destiny is that if the person is jailed, that is the one that will scare people from your work. For them, if you don't jail them, they will manage with the police and come back, and they will be enjoying the money that they
So, in all your experience, you have never had anybody jailed. None of them have been to court. None of them has been jailed.
In fact, for me, I have jailed some of them, and some were remanded. And as they managed their way to come out from the remand. One other guy, he was remanded for about 1 year. He came out and he managed to escape, and he ran away to UK. Now that he's back, his family member, he's dodging me. His family members are begging, but they are not coming in to pay the money.
How would you respond to people who say that you business owners, you entrepreneurs, you are the ones to be blamed for all this because you don't take care of your workers well. You don't pay them well, but yet you take very good care of your children. Your children will come to the workplace, they're looking flashy, they're driving posh cars, and they don't even do much work. Your children don't do much work. I'm not saying you, I'm generalizing it for business people.
It's all like that.
You don't pay them well, so when they also have the opportunity, they'll steal from you.
Of mine is that when you employ that person, you employ a 2 months or 3 months. It has to be like you within a shortest possible time. You have to have a house, car, and others. So as he comes and he will never see the business growing for him to enjoy. But he will come and take the money that the business is working with, so that he will be rich and build his house and get a car.
So now you have closed your school, your basic school. How is the attitude, this behavior of the Ghanaian worker, how is it also influencing or impacting your other businesses you have? Are you going to close down all your businesses?
Because the way people are behaving in businesses, when they even come, they don't do the work well.
But Mr. Osofie, are you going to close your other businesses? Now you've closed your school because they're stealing from you. You have also mentioned that even when it comes to your poultry business, they're still stealing from you. Are you going to continue to close down your businesses, or you find a better way to manage your business?
Just last week, in my farm, one of my farm manager, he used the farm name to collect a lot of people's money that he will supply them, and also he will supply them later, poultry manure. And he has run away with the money. He ran away night. And as he ran away, people came to me. A lot of people have come to me that they have money with the manager. And I told them that, manager doesn't do any sales. So if you gave money to the manager and he has run away, have to go and search him for the money.
So, Mr. Osofie, my question to you is, how are you going to handle or manage the situation on hand? Already, you have closed down your school. You have a poultry, and I know you have other businesses. People keep stealing from you. So what are you going to do? Continue to close your businesses, or you find ways to make it better?
Now, I have decided that to open more businesses for people to be stealing from me, I am going to close most of my business and leave a few which I can look after it well, so that I won't improve much, because I was having more than 150 employees, and now I'm thinking to reduce to 20.
You had what a number before, and you're reducing to 20?
The problem of me will go down.
You had 150, pulling it down to 20.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull it down to 20, so that
This
the pressure
more unemployed people in our system. Thank you very much, Mr. Francis, also for sharing your experience with us. So let me come to you, Nunu. He says, "What can you do?" They will steal from you. Is that to suggest that the situation is that bad we cannot fix it?
We can. I think, first of all, are you willing to be formal? Because if there is that tight bookkeeping system, it also makes it difficult for them to steal from you without noticing. You see, there is a way, even at the bank, an employee can steal, but the reality is that he'll be caught. So if you go by strict bookkeeping, then obviously you'll be able to unravel whatever corruption that goes on there. And you can also, like he is saying, you can also decide to have control over the business. The expansion should be something that you have control over it.
What is the closing businesses like he's decided to do is an option?
Yes, it's not the best, but if you think that is how his competence and intelligence can go, why not?
We have a very wide number of people who are unemployed, and we are closing down businesses because of the attitude and the behavior of Ghanaians. Mr. Ninkra, when somebody works and feels comfortable, so for example, the pay is good, you pay the person's net contributions, the person's medicals are taken care of well and all that, I'm sure that the person will be committed to work, hard enough and be committed enough to the business. But if the person is not paid well enough, the earlier sound we played, and it's part of our caption, the unfriendly nature of the Ghanaian. The customer will come and feel such, why is this person behaving this way and all that? Don't you think that it's to a large extent the fact that they are not being catered for well by employers? That is what is contributing to this.
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. Mr. Nuno just said that you can have a worker in a bank. Their SNITs, everything is taken care of. They have other allowances. Yet, within the setup, you can find people doing dubious things in the banks. Workers, no matter how, man's needs are not insatiable. Okay, as it is, we are always craving for, new things. I have a Samsung. Now I want to own an iPhone because Mr. Nuno is having an iPhone.
He's the owner of the business, for Christ's sake. He is entitled to it.
That is where, there is a dichotomy. Let us fix it. The mentality, the kind of education that we are giving. I'm here to cite a syllabus talking about integrity. I was on a panel with a professor, and we were discussing some of these things. And I said that, can we have maybe a semester? No, it is not examinable, but it is something that we want to impart, even from the basic school, and so that the children.
Is it a classroom thing or is it a home thing?
It's both. It can be. If charity begins at home, it must be from the home, but it must be complemented in the classroom.
You are an elder.
Yeah.
I have 3 questions for you. Nuno, I'll come to you with some 3 questions as well. You are an elder of a church, Pentecost, right? And if you listen to the gentleman whose soundbite we played, he says a Christopher, the Christians. Leo, let's play that voice again. I say Christopher. So as an elder, what does that say to you? How does that make you feel? And aside from that, you are also a certified entrepreneurship trainer. You are a trainer for people who want to get employment and all that. What have you been training people on such that this is happening? So if you don't mind, I want us to take a listen to the sound again, where he talks about the Christians who are doing this, and yet we go to church every day. You are an elder. What is that saying to you? Are we good to go? Let's hear it.
And now so far no be gina say wo members omo ba sorry no wo empire na ya me ya then na mo ka kire omo because mo ko fo no ya de omo ya adwuma enya ye mini India fo bi na te ko ya no mo nyuma ya nyuma ya nyina ya fa Ghana fo a especially Christians omo we are too much.
Christopher, you are too much. Elder, how do you respond to that?
It's so sad. It's sad anyway. Maybe there's misplaced priority in terms of sermon delivery in the church. Now, most churches concentrate on prosperity, and the motivational speakers and all that. These are things that incite people to try to get rich quick. But we need to go to the basics, and the basics is simple: repentance. If there's no repentance, if the person is not properly born again, then obviously the old nature, the Adamic nature, will still reign in the person.
You train people to become entrepreneurs, but you also train people for them to get employment and all that. When you are speaking to the person who's unemployed, who's looking for a job, who knows that he's been home for years, haven't gotten a job, and is about to get one, do they have at the back of their minds that they need to do the right things to keep their jobs? So when you engage with them, what do you pay?
It's the first thing I tell them, that integrity is capital. Integrity is capital. If you have integrity, it can take you far. You may not have money, but at least integrity can help you. And I'm an example of and a product of integrity.
I understand that. So, but when you speak to them, what's their response or their reaction like?
Yes, you may get some who will take it serious. Others, they have it at the back of their mind what they want to do. Yes, so that is it. I mean, generally, you cannot force. You can force the horse to the riverside. You can't force it to drink. You tell the person to do the right thing, but the person goes out and then begins to do something else.
Well, this is Love in the Morning. It's on Love 99.5. Our conversation this morning, well, we shared with you a sound a while ago, where in that very sound, you could hear a frustrated businessman vent out his concerns. He says, well, the Ghanaian worker is a thief. And we're told that the Chinese call the Ghanaian worker who steals Alibaba. They are thieves. The Ghanaian worker is always stealing. Aside from stealing, he's unfriendly to customers. So somebody will come and do business with you today, tomorrow will not come back because worker on stress. And then some of the Ghanaian workers, according to the gentleman, they go out there and they'll destroy you. They speak ill about you. He says they are like Lucifers. When you employ somebody, it's like a Lucifer. And he says the Christians are worse off because they go to church and they come and do the hirababa and all that. And yet they are killing your business. They are stealing from you. Mr. Nunu, you also mentioned peer pressure.
Yes.
Why do you say peer pressure is contributing to this behavior by the Ghanaian?
Yeah, there are people who would want to move with people in a certain class. So they go out with them, they see them drinking, eating from expensive restaurants, driving posh cars, and they also want to be like them. And if they happen to be working with you, then they have to make sure they are also taking some amount from you to do that. But I must also say that we have very good employees, except that today we are discussing the other side. But there are very good employees with integrity, you see.
How do you respond to people who say there's a particular job vacancy? If you give that job, you are an entrepreneur, if you give that job to a Ghanaian, you will pay him a certain amount of money. But you pay an expatriate, a Caucasian, an Indian, much more money for doing that same job. Why don't we pay the same? It's like the Blasters job. You bring somebody in who's a local coach, you pay him a certain amount. You bring an expatriate, you pay him more. Isn't that what is also killing the employee to give off his very best? Because you pay him much better than the Ghanaian.
Yeah, some of the things are standard and quite universal. So expatriates, except that in some cases they look down on blacks. Otherwise, if you're also an engineer from Ghana, for example, and you go to UK, they are supposed to pay you higher. So in that sense, if an engineer moves from US, from his comfort zone to UK, he'll be paid higher than the UK resident engineer. For example, in labor economics, we pay, if a job involves higher discretion and the mind, it is paid higher than using physical strength. So the manager is paid higher than the laborer, but the laborer suffers more than the manager. These things are universal, and in labor, it's acceptable. All right, so it's just like that. Except that we may not understand, because as a black person, when you travel out, they can easily even pay you lower than the person you met there. But universally, that is how it is.
Would you agree with somebody who's, when it comes to the Kukwanansi stories, Kukwanansi, Tukuma, and all his kids and all that, you realize that they're always trying to outsmart the other. He's always trying to outsmart somebody. and he's always trying to rob, steal, do a man of negative things. And we grew up hearing some of these Kwekwena stories. Would you agree with people who say that per our culture and some of these stories that we've heard or we hear, it's influencing what we do, such that, well, you always want to outsmart somebody, outwit somebody, steal somebody? Would you say that our culture is playing a role in this?
Sure. When I was young, anytime I was eating and my sister wanted to steal my fish, she would tell me, look at the bird in the sky. When I look in the sky, then she will steal the fish. So, and sometimes you would want to follow your father to the market. Your father will tell you to go and bring the slippers. By the time you come, your father is no more there. So these things, as you are growing, you'll be seeing it right from the home. So you grow to believe that for you to be successful, you need to be smart.
But don't they care of the about the consequences, Mr. Ninkra? Because if you're caught, for example, he says somebody stole his 40,000, he did not prosecute. Although he fell on the family to come and repay, they said, listen, if you give us 2 years, we will not be able to pay. He let it slide. But for somebody who wants to take it serious, these people who are stealing from their business owners, are they not concerned about being imprisoned? Are they not concerned about losing a job and not finding a job to do that will give you ends meet? Are they not scared about the consequences that come up or come along with such behavior?
No, they are not.
They are not?
They are not.
They are not bothered about it?
No, they are not bothered at all.
If they should lose their job?
Why? Because when you take the person, Mr. Osofriye told us that when you report to the police, look at the way they handle it. Our judicial system is not that solid and tight to be able to, when there's instant justice in terms of the person is taken to court and the person is
prosecution take place.
Yes, and jailed. When it happens twice, 2 times, everybody sits up.
So you're blaming the courts now? You're blaming the police now?
I'm blaming the system, the general system. If I steal from Mr. Nuno, my parents will go to him to plead. If it doesn't work, I'll know his pastor. I'll go to the pastor. The pastor calls Mr. Nuno, then or the Bible to him, and then Mr. Nuno, okay, or Christo me. Is that the way to go? No.
So what would it take for us to have a change, to get things done right, for things to improve? Mr. Nuno, what would it take? But before you give me an answer to that question, and I want to share this information with our listeners out there. It's about the clash of the Titans. Big Brother Titans is here. 2 African giants, and they are Nigeria and South Africa. They're coming together in Biggie's house. Now the show will stream live 24 hours on the pop-up channels 198 on DSTV and 129 on GoTV. Catch the daily highlights at 9:30 p.m. and eviction shows at 7 p.m. on Sundays and Aquabamatic DSTV channel 150 and GoTV 101. Dial star 759# to stay connected and witness all the drama and excitement in the epic season of Big Brother Titans. And this very one that will protect you and save your life. Ghana AIDS Commission has a message for you, and the message is simple: condomless sex is risky sex, and therefore if it is not on, it is definitely not in. Be safe out there when you are engaging in the things that you do. Mr. Nunu, what would it take for us to get it right? And once Mr. Nunu answers that question, we'll be activating the phone lines on 03220 83596, 03220 83597 and 03220 83598. Listen, we want to hear from you on this matter. Call us. Do you agree that the Ghanaian attitude towards work is that bad? Is the Ghanaian a thief? Is the Ghanaian a thief? is the Ghanaian really unfriendly when he has been employed? We have a voice from COP Kofi Boakye, and we want you to take a listen to what Kofi Boakye himself had to say when it comes to some of these things. Leo, are we good to go?
Additionally, culturally, our system endorses corruption. Look at all our proverbs. Are these not corrupt proverbs?
Therefore, we have to look at our own culture. So saying that police is corrupt is so easy, because these are the people you see outside. Who else do you see outside? And let's also look at the quantum. One man's corruption.
Well, I think we can go on from there, but it's not only the police, is it? Because when the corruption list comes at the customs, the immigration, a lot of people are in there. Let's go on to our phone lines, but don't forget my question. I will take an answer from you, Mr. Nunu. Same question to you, Mr. Ninkra. How can we fix the problem on hand? How can we get things right so that the Ghanaian worker will work and work well, and would help the business grow? Even if he wants to establish his own business, he ought to help somebody else's business do well. We've got 3 people on the lines right now: Kofi, Johnny, and George. Let's start off with Kofi, who came through first. Kofi, good morning. Welcome.
You see, every time we always hear of chief executives or entrepreneurs or employers coming out to destroy and disgrace workers. And it looks as if that is okay. We don't hear the side of any worker. The employers are always called, like the tape you played this morning. I want to ask that man, David, the minimum wage in Ghana now, I don't know, I think it's above 10 cedi. Ask them, those proprietors, ask them how many of them pay even the minimum wage to their workers. Like I gave you an example yesterday. The hoteliers, when the tourist board do interviews and select people for them, they spell out their salaries, and it is very good. But in about 2, 3, 4 months, they will lay all the workers that were employed by the tourist board. They will lay them off and employ new people and share 1 month's pay to 3 people because they want job. Look at how they cheat their workers. Meanwhile, the worker will come to work in the morning and close at 10, sometimes 12 hours.
Kofi, if you're not comfortable with what you earn, is it about stealing or leaving the job and go seek a better job?
No. That is what you always say. Leave the job. Tell them that they should stop cheating. As long as
let's move on and speak to Johnny. Hi, Johnny. Good morning. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, David.
Johnny.
David, please. There's no reason or there's no justification for stealing. Nobody should ever justify that my dad did this or that is why I stole. But David, come to think of it, the employers have made the employees to know that they stole before they get where they are, per their behavior. The employer will tell the employees, cut down this one so that we don't pay this tax. What are you teaching the person? You are stealing from the government. You are also teaching him that, okay, then at the end of the day, I will also do that. David, find out why employers decide that they will pay somebody 1,000 cedis and pay his allowance 4,000 because they don't want to add that to that 5,000 and pay SNIT on it and pay PF on it. They want to cut corners, and the employees are watching. You see, look at these mobile bankers that you see them roaming around. The mobile banker, most of them are not paid salary. They are paid on commission. They don't have anything apart from the commission they give them. Meanwhile, they bring the money to the banks. They steal the money. You ask them why. They say, oh, my daughter was sick. My mother was sick. I was sick. I used the money for that. So, see, it is the employers. They come and they want to paint the picture as if the employees are so bad. Sometimes they teach them that way. Look, in my language, they say that the piglet, it watches the mothers, the way it chews the grass or whatever, the way it was, then it also chews the same thing. It is sometimes, most of the time, from the employers. Good morning.
But I'm happy that you came in and you began by saying that there's no justification for stealing. 03220-83596, 03220-83597, 03220-83598. Listen, join our conversation. Is the Ghanaian worker that bad? Are they really thieves? Are they really unfriendly? George, good morning.
Good morning, David. How are you?
Hey, George.
David, thank you. Is the Ghanaian worker a thief? Yes, 80% thief. Because, David, if someone employ, a Ghanaian worker, he thinks that the person who employ him doesn't even know what to do with his money. You see, and as the police officer said, Obia did do an agreement, all these proverbs are proverbs of corruption. David, we call ourselves Christians. We are never Christians. We are only church goers. If you look at the house that we are building for God, the so-called National Cathedral, look at what is going on there as Christians.
I hear you, George. Somebody just made me laugh this morning. He says there's somebody in the room who has a business, and if he wants to employ you, the first thing he will say to you is, curse yourself. Before he employs you, so curse yourself that you won't steal from me. Curse yourself that you do A, B, and C before I employ you. What kind of tactics is this? Charity, good morning and welcome.
I know that.
Good morning, Uncle Dave.
Okay. Hi, Charity, please let's hear you.
What I'm saying is that you don't understand why people do that. Myself, I have 3 businesses. And one lady I've employed, I realized about 2 years ago, she has saved up to 200 million old currency. And I confronted her, and she told me that she's doing a side business. So if this is happening, how do you expect me to pay you up to your expectation?
Let me ask a question. If she says she has a side business, and whatever she's doing is not affecting the business, the work she's doing for you, she's keeping to her time, she's meeting her deadlines and her targets, what's the big deal, Charity?
She's not. The thing is this, I'm even rendering a service. And she comes to work at 7:30 and close at 5. And I have checked, she's not having any side business, but some of the customers have started complaining that if I give the thing to her like this, she will ask them to pay 40 or 50. You understand? So I employ someone to do that business for me. And I confirmed, yes, that's what she's doing.
You say you pay her well?
I pay her well. She's a JHS or SHS. I pay 800 Ghana cedis every month.
That it is enough. You think you're paying her well? Have you asked her whether she's okay with her salary?
I have. I've sat with her. I've talked with her. So what I've decided to do is that I have to employ someone, and so that every day, whatever sales they make, they write it down. So the person will also check, and then she check every week. Then I will just.
How is this impacting or affecting your business, Charity?
It's really affecting me because the customers are complaining that the services are too much. They can't pay. I'm charging more than what I told them. And whenever I discuss it with her, she will say, "Oh, madam, it's not true." You understand?
So what do you intend to do about it then?
Yes, what I'm trying to say is that I've employed someone who is doing the supervision for me now. That's what I'm saying. But I have 3 businesses. How can I employ 3 people to be doing the supervision for me? All these things come in. So I cannot pay you well because I know that this one will give me a problem. I have to employ someone to do supervision. This one will give me a problem. So if I'm employing 2 people, one job that one person can do, how do you expect me to pay you well?
Charity, thanks. I wish you well. Ken, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, David. The lady is saying I pay her well. Very funny. David, you know what? I particularly am skeptical.
What is it very funny? I don't agree with you on this. I mean, you would have a conversation. You agree on the terms of work as to how much you'll be paid. So if she says she's paying you well, that's what you agreed on. That's what I'm giving to you.
David, how about, like you asked her, have you asked whoever that you employ the reason why she's doing that? Yeah, you did ask her that. David, let me come to my point. Is it, like I was saying, I'm skeptical about religion, especially Christianity as a religion itself. Because when you come to Ghana, all the workers, all of us are either Christian or a Muslim. We don't have traditionalists a lot. We have this Christian and a Muslim as a lot as workers. David, the man you just spoke with on the phone was very furious and then complaining about the fact that his workers or those that he have employed are stealing from him. The Bible, like they read, state that we reap what we sow. So he should go back, reflect on his past, what he did, or what he has done, and what he's still doing. You see, there's this boss of mine, Mr. Emmanuel Atta. I always praise him. So he's a man that will call you, even when the situation is worse. He will call you guys, and then sit with you, Paul, address issue. I mean, let you know what is coming out and what is going out of the way, so that you all come in terms and then deal with the situation on board. You see, 3 days ago, I was asking, when you are working with somebody and then he doesn't pay you on time, is there any way of taking the person on? Now, I'm working with you. You don't pay me on time. I have family to take care of. And you don't pay me at 30th, 31st, that I have to feed my family.
We'll have a different angle to this conversation tomorrow. Because listen, you know what? If you're in a business and the business is struggling or suffering, you expect that you'll be paid on the 27th of every month. Even if collections has not come, if it's for a business where collections has to be made, like Love FM here, people come to advertise and they have not paid us, you expect that on the 27th, daily, you have to be paid. Listen, put yourself in the business owner's shoes and understand what the business owner also goes through. Continue with your commitment and your dedication to the job. Tell me that the money is in and the business owner is not paying you, then I will understand. But understand the business owner that he's invested the money, he has not received money yet, then how does he pay you? Let's speak to you. Is it Sledge? Hi, Sledge. Good morning.
Good morning, Dave.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm well, sir. Thanks for asking.
David, the average Ghanaian worker is a thief. Yes, you all agree. But David, who calls him? An employer go to the port, or you send your workers to the port. Go instead of them to pay the right taxes, you ask them to cut corners and pay little amount and pay bribe to the people on duty. So when your worker sees that, the worker also steal from you. Yes, worker no come for there, but the old children no. Some corners befa. If the old children say, "Oh, going no port," on go to your taxes and get no. The worker will come back and come and steal from you also. So, and also, David, they should know that the economy is very hard. There is no justification for stealing. But when things are also going well for you, your company, you also try and raise their salaries up. Because sometimes when you hear some of the money that some workers are working like donkeys and being paid, David, for Christ's sake.
Then they become the Alibaba. Thank you very much, Sledge. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, Dave.
Let's hear you, sir.
Omani, baby, I know. Both employees and employers are to be blamed for what is happening in our system. The challenge is I'm an employee and I'm an employer. All the time I try as much as possible to hold my integrity high, regardless of whatever that is happening. I have tried severally to do something for myself because that is what I believe in. Since I completed school, I've tried a number of businesses. All of them did not survive just because of fees. They messed everything up. You start another business, they will mess it up again. Recently, I've started another business, and my wife was like, "This time, no way." So, the Ghanaian employee is always looking for more than he or she is supposed to receive. And when it happens that way, it makes it difficult because assuming that you have put all the checks and balances in place, you have put all the systems in place to check all these things, still, they will find ways and means to steal from you. So, if as an employer, you are not careful, you will never make progress and you end up dying early. So the employees need to understand that when you are working for somebody, it's a process. When the business is at stage 1, maybe you receive stage 1 salary. When the business gets to stage 2, you receive stage 2 salary. So as the business is progressing, then you also progress in life.
I hear you, Alex. Thanks very much for joining us.
Employers will not.
Thank you much, Alex. Thank you so much, Alex. Let's keep it simple and straight to the point. Thank you so much for the calls. Dan, welcome. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Danny, how are you doing?
I'm good, Dave. And you?
Let's hear you, Danny.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Daniel.
Yeah. You see how our institutions are left to run anyhow. Institutions that deal with the mental faculty of the human being. For example, the church. Any young person can just get up with no track record, can just get up and say, I've set up a church. And we have a number of them across the country. So, and this is an institution, there is no end to it. You don't have a time limit that you graduate. They have no business shaping the minds of the people, because if you allow them to remain like that, there is no interconnectivity that we are training people's mind to come and perform at the workplace. In our schools, JHS, during the BEC exams, we find people allowing a poor and all that to go on, the children to cheat. Parents are even buying a poor for their children. They get the results, they go to secondary school, similar thing happens there. They come to the tertiary, they apply the same thing there. So they try, from day one as they were young, they try to outsmart the system.
Well, thank you very much, Danny. And there's this joke that I heard, Danny. Thanks very much, Danny, for the call. Well, there's a young boy who didn't do his homework and submitted the book to the teacher anyway, but he put in 1 cedi. His intent is that the teacher should not beat him for not doing the homework, so the teacher should take the 1 cedi and not beat him. So from a very tender age, we are finding ways and means of cutting corners just to be able to make it. Our final caller is in Godwin. Hi, Godwin, good morning.
Good morning, David.
So let's hear your thoughts on the conversation.
David, before I start, I think you guys were talking about our stories that they tell us and so forth.
I just mentioned that in passing, that the Kukwanansi stories where we all know how the Kukwanansi behaves in our stories. He's always trying to outsmart people, steal from people, and be corrupted and all that. I think that we have imbibed it.
My auntie will tell a story. And when she ends the story, the bad things that Kukwanansi they use is that the story will end with Kukwanansi being punished or getting into trouble. Even though Kukwanansi in the beginning was as smarting. So it tells you that the stories were rather helping us, letting us know what we have to do and how we need to be. And no matter how bad that you may think you'll be doing and be achieving something out of, you realize that you end up in a bad side. So it was a good story, and they were telling us, and they were ending it with a proper advice.
Yes, the point is, yes, in as much as it doesn't end well for Kukwanansi in most of the stories, in most cases, people think that they can get away with it. They can outsmart the system. But that's what the situation is.
To know how to tell story, end up by advising you about the negative. So it was rather shaping us. We also have another problem of the civic education that we are no longer doing. I think there should be a way out because it was also shaping us. Let us know the responsibility, the right things that you should be doing for a nation and whatever that you end up being. Then the next is the kind of pastors, the religious leaders we are having today. The preaching that they do is everybody must be rich. And it's like if you are not rich, if you cannot get a car, if you cannot build a house, if you cannot live a life that shows that you are the most important person in society, then you are not a good person. You haven't made life.
We hear you, Godwin. We hear you. And from all indications, we're contemplating to have a part 2 tomorrow. Erastus Saridongo joins us on the beat tomorrow on this subject matter as well. The one that has made my morning is that I'm told that there's a businessman in town. And when I mentioned it, Mr. Nikra says he knows the businessman. There's a businessman in town. But let's listen to some of the voice messages that have come through, beginning with this very one.
Hello, good morning, Dave. My name is Abdullah Ismaila. Yes, what the man is saying is the reality on the ground. See, most of these businessmen, they use their money to go and set up a business. For we those who do not have job to come and work there and also get our daily bread. But what happens at the end of the day? The moment you employ the person, he has set up a target. You know where the me enko si safe no na manya say. Enko si safe na matoka away. This is what we do. So ono no aba no person wo ya ade no kra chen adwuma wura no, especially omo edo omo sisi positions mo no. Omo subanya no.
Thank you very much for joining us with your thoughts on our WhatsApp console. We've got more to share with you, like this very one here.
Good morning, David. My name is Rashid. David, in fact, this recording is so uncalled for. When we take the average Ghanaian businessman, David, why is it that always these so-called entrepreneurs, these so-called businessmen who employ 1-2 people at central markets are always complaining about the Ghanaian youth and then the Ghanaian worker? These people will not employ people who are eligible for the job. They will go in and employ a junior high school graduate, a senior high school graduate, and expect him to work as a university graduate. David, go to MTN. Go and make this poll and ask them about the average Ghanaian worker and see if MTN will make this complaint to you. It is always these people who will not take care of their workers well, who will go like 5 months, 6 months without paying their workers, and they will bring in young girls, small girls in the workplace, and then they give them huge sums of money, yet their workers are there.
Well, I hear you, but listen, let me just hold on. I was going to say something about MTN. Certain things won't come out to the public for the public to get to know of, but things are happening. That's all I would say. Take a listen to this other voice message.
David, good morning. This is Darius from Activate. In fact, the ongoing discussion is what is happening in the system. The issue about Ghanaian worker, it's something we all have to talk about. Until you venture into business, before you feel the pain of what the kind of people you employ, who go around looking for work you employ, and the attitude. It's a very bad attitude, and it is going on. I'm in it, and I know what is happening. So in fact, we have to talk about it. The issue about maybe you riding in a good car, your children are looking good. It's not logic, because maybe the person already has where he's making his money from, and the business is not making any money. And how do you expect that the business you are in is not making any means, and you want the business owner to look for money somewhere to?
Well, I hear you. Take a listen to this other person's voice message to us.
Good morning. When the missionaries started educating us, there was a subject called morality. Morality. Now, when we change from the missionary school to our secular system, this thing has vanished. I think we have to instill it. Morality. That was what was making our elders behave morally. You see, it is not only about the academic work. You train people from the head, from the heart, from the hands, so that and the mind, the morality aspect. That is why we are having a lot of corruption. The whites are advancing. I mean, you can have a white person who is doing other things, but I mean, his truthfulness.
So you're saying that they are more honest, more truthful than we are? Well, we have more messages to listen to, like this one here.
My name is Sudesh and I'm speaking from DRC Insights. You see, this issue is gradually gaining grounds in this country. people are gradually making it something acceptable. That is stealing from the employer, which I think is very, very bad. It's everywhere. Not only the private enterprise. When you go to the government enterprise, number one, they steal. Number two, they are not friendly. When you go to the hospital, the nurses are always angry. You ask them a simple question and they become infuriated. You go to the bank, the cashier has frowned. You go to everywhere. You ask them simple questions. You are not a banker. You don't know the modalities. You don't know the formalities. You need certain clarifications so as you don't make any mistake on whatever transaction you are doing. They become annoyed. You understand? So it's an attitude that is eating into our moral fiber.
Thank you very much for the voice messages. Time will not allow us to play all of it. For now, we'll try and squeeze in one more, and we'll call it a day on the console. Do we have time to do that? Here we go.
Master, what is it? No matter how you treat your wife, if you treat your wife, all my problem. Share, master.
Okay. I don't know where that one came from, though. But we thank you very much for sending in those messages. We thank you very much for sending in those messages. And there's going to be a part 2 tomorrow. Actually, there's going to be a part 2 on this tomorrow. But Mr. Nick, who's this man in the room who asked you to curse yourself before? You don't want to go there. But you heard Kofi Boache.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's saying that some of the adages that we have in Ghana is contributing to what we're seeing or witnessing. You agree?
Partly.
All right. No.
But look, the last voice that is domestication of our topic.
Take a listen to CEO Kofi, please.
On the roads, the MTU, which we have accepted that is bad, but who gives them the money? Quite apart from that, traditionally, culturally, our system endorses corruption. Police, look at among all the words, police, we are the interface between the law and the public. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And they see us more. Policemen are always on the road, and even the police corruption they're talking about is only on the roads. The MTU, which we have accepted that is bad, but who gives them the money? Quite apart from that, traditionally, culturally, our system endorses corruption. Look at all our proverbs. Are these not corrupt proverbs? Therefore, we have to look at our own culture. So saying that police is corrupt is so easy, because these are the people you see outside. Who else do you see outside? And let's also look at the country. One man's corruption.
Erasmus, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
So you've heard, our conversation. The Ghanaian worker is corrupt.
Yes.
He's a thief. There's a name for it. Alibaba.
Not every Ghanaian worker is a thief.
Oh, that is true.
And some of the thieves are the creation of the employers. Workers are not treated well in Ghana. Many of the employers want cheap labor. And that's what I want to expand tomorrow.
Tomorrow do that, but again,
when I come.
Let me also have a bite at what you're saying. So, you are in an employment somewhere. Your pay is not good.
Yeah.
Your conditions of service is not good. Why don't you look for something better?
There is no job.
So you still stay in there and steal?
No, I'm not there to steal.
I'm not saying you, but I'm saying general terms.
I know.
The
person is not there to steal. You see, we tend to think that every person you employ wants to steal from you. No. It depends on the way you treat the person.
You're saying that the situation the person is in.
To a large extent.
You make the person steal.
I want to give you a scenario.
Go ahead.
Somebody is paid as we speak. This is real. I'm not making it up. That person is paid 200 cedis a month.
I know. There are people who earn
below the minimum wage. Because if you calculate, the minimum wage is not 13
cedis. Yeah.
Calculate the amount of
13 cedis, 88 pesos.
So half of the minimum wage below, which is criminal anyway. The person takes a vehicle. Let's say 2 cedis in, 2 cedis out, but it's not realistic because now it's about 5 cedis in, 5 cedis out. How much is it in a month? And you are the employer, you know very well that the person's situation is
so
not
when
this amount I'm paying the person is not realistic.
We'll have this conversation tomorrow, but to wrap up, if you are not fortunate and you are caught and you are prosecuted, would your defense be that because you are not paid well, that is why you decided to do what you did in that business?
Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. It's wrong to steal. Whether you are being treated well or not, that's not an excuse to steal. It's very wrong.
Tomorrow we'll have this conversation.
But then we also consider the factors, because we are talking about factors that push people to steal from employers.
Yeah.
And if you're an employer and you're not considering all these factors, then you have yourself to blame.
I have a problem if the employer can afford to pay much more, let's say more than he's paying now, and is not doing it. Because some businesses are really struggling. They are struggling and cannot. But if you can, because there are some businesses that can afford to add a little bit more.
And David, there is that notion by many employers that my workers should not know how much I'm earning, the profit. I think it's wrong. You see, if you let the workers know, the state of the business and why they should keep working hard, and you reward them for working hard, definitely they imbibe.
And sometimes it's not just about the money you pay them, how you even relate.
Yes.
And I was saying this.
What you say to them. Listen, we'll have a part 2 tomorrow. Echa, we'll be back to talk about Park also. Thank you very much for your time with us today. We'll talk tomorrow. But listen, we'll be joining the feed on Joy 99.7 in no time. They'll be taking a bite at the Auditor General's report and its findings on the COVID-19 expenditure, plus the decision by the leadership of the NDC to change the leadership in Parliament. All that and more coming up your way on the Super Morning Show. Please stay tuned. By Mr. Ninkra and to you, Mr. Nunu, thank you. Hey, Dr. Ninkra and Dr. Nunu, thank you very much for your time. And I'm Pastor Ninkra and Pastor Nunu. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.